Howdy, howdy, Suitable here, and welcome to another online ladder battle. Now, in this battle, we're up against the Lizardmen again, but it's sort of a different build, and when I first came up against this build, I'm like, oh my god, it's a Kite build. And I hate fighting against Kitey builds. He has chameleon skinks, but I couldn't see those. I couldn't see most of his army. He has pterodon riders, and I couldn't see the Lord. Skink Chief up in the air and some Stegodon artillery. I was like, oh my god, this is going to be awful, because I know some people look at Dwarfs when they box up and have their artillery and like, oh my god, I'm going to have to fight Dwarfs. Well, as a Dwarf, the build you least like fighting is a Kitey build unless you have artillery. So I'm going to go look at my build, and it's the same build as I had in my last online battle, and it is just a very basic build with no artillery. We have 4 Longbeards up front, all with 4 chevrons. It's a very, very good level, and they do very good against Saurus warriors. And I have, again, for my back line, 3 miners, just regular miners to help with that, any kind of cav or anything like that, and 2 Longbeards with great weapons in my back line. Where's my other one? There's my hammers. And, well, here we go, along with great weapons. My heavy hitters, my hammers in here. And I've got also the Grumbling Guard with Ungrim Iron Fist. Ungrim Iron Fist is just stripped down, and for my pressure, my backline pressure, I have Ulthar's Raiders, 2 and 2 Bugman's Rangers. And again, I have my army just split in half, where this side of my army is all hard targets. This side of my army, particularly this part, is something that I have to defend, so it can make my build a little bit easier to manage. And when I kind of saw this build, I was like, oh, okay, here's not going to be real fun. But to my opponent's credit, this is something that is very reasonable, and you'll see how he plays in the end. Now, he has 3 Pterodon Riders, again, for just early skirmish to get some shots in. He has 2 Chameleon Skinks, which I cannot see. They're hidden here and here. He has a piece of Stegodon for artillery. He has a Skink Chief in the air. He does have the Feral Cold Ones hidden in the forest, and they are chevroned up to rank 8. And here's his main infantry force. He has 4 Saurus Warriors with shields, which are very strong against the Dawi, and he has a unit of Temple Guards and a Slan Mage Priest. Now, interestingly, this Priest has, and you'll find out why it's so interesting, Banishment. 2 times you can use this Vortex spell. Shield of the Old Ones for leadership and magic resistance. An Aura of Quetzal for melee defense and armor. Blood Statuette of Spite, damage to combatants and strong versus multiple combatants. Byrona's Time Warp, plus 26 melee attack. And Net of Amantok. Now you're going to think, just like I thought, Net of Amantok's pretty silly to have. Well, turns out it isn't. Anyways, you'll see. And Shim's Burning Gaze, Faw's Protection. Maybe he has all of them, I don't know. But anyways, he has an idea of what he's doing. So I'm just going to hit play here. And so usually when I see this sort of, we're going to say this kitey sort of build, I sort of halfway panic because I hate playing against it. So I'm just going to try and take shots, but I really want to conserve my ammo. I don't want to just run out. So I'll take a shot against the Pterodon Riders. I really want to get that Skink Chief. And as soon as I see shots here, this is where these miners are really, really valuable. I see shots against here, I'm just sending my miners after those Chameleon Skinks. I don't care if I lose them all. Just get away from me. And see, these Chameleon Skinks, I'm just going to send these miners after him. Just get away from me. And I'm going to try and shoot up his Skink Chief. I'm trying to pick good targets because I don't have that much ammo. Bugman's Rangers have less ammo than regular quarters. So, and then I see the Stegodon. I thought, well, maybe I'll just move up and try and push into that Stegodon, because one of the problems with Kite builds is they tend to tear you apart, and my opponent's doing a good job of this. He's got Pterodon Riders coming from here and there. They tend to just pull your army apart like this, you know, in all sorts of directions, and then he can come in hard from down the middle when he pulls you apart and starts to isolate part of your army. So what I've done is I've taken my non-shielded Longbeards with great weapons, moved them up here, and taken my regular Longbeards. I'm just posting them up here to take shots. That's it, right? I don't want to go too far. So I'm actually pulling my miners back, and I'm going to push them back. I'm going to kind of go back and forth. I don't want to get too far from my main force, and I want, if he's going to shoot anything, I want him to shoot shielded units. Unfortunately, I don't have that happening on this side. I am trying to find a good place for my Uthar's Raiders to shoot, and I want to get my Longbeards going. I'm just trying to get myself sorted out. The one target I do not want hit is these Dragonback Slayers. I definitely do not want him to get my Dragonback Slayers. Now, thankfully, he pulls out his Saurus Warriors here out of the forest, but he doesn't pull out his Slan Priest or his Temple Guards. He just hides them over here. So I'm going to see that and start sorting out where I'm at. As long as my Slayers don't get beat up, I'm good. And of course, he comes around and starts beating up my Slayers, but I'm doing my very best. This is, you know, when you're playing against the Kite build, for me, it's really irritating. So you don't think quite as well when you're irritated. And I was trying to get his Skink Chief, you know, just put some damage into that Chief. And eventually, I didn't even notice these guys were out of the forest just yet, but I will notice very soon. See, I'm just sort of saying, okay, well, I'm just going to stay here and just take the shots the best I can and deal the damage the best I can. Now I do see him, so I'm going to start moving up my troops. I'm going to start sorting out my targets so I can go in one at a time and get my Slayer specifically to come around here to get after his Stegodon and keep my Longbeards on this side. I'm going to keep pushing him. I don't care that these miners are getting beat up, and he's going to come in and rout them, fine by me, and be pushing here with these miners. Really what I want to do is get into an engagement with the Saurus Warriors. I know that's where the rest of his force is. I still haven't seen his leader, obviously, and he's taking shots at my miners. I'm just fine with that. I'd rather them take shots than my Dragonback Slayers or my hammers or anything else. So he has routed these miners. I'm fine with that. Eventually I'm going to see that these are routed, and I'm actually going to send these miners now after these Chameleon Skinks, which is fine by me. So I'm starting to get my guys sorted. I want to take my Uthar's Raiders after this Stegodon, and I want to get my Grumbling Guard after the Stegodon, and Ungrim Iron Fist, and these guys around after Stegodon. Now here is where that net of Ammon talk happens. So we've got a full health group of Uthar's Raiders and Longbeards, and my Longbeards with great weapons are going to get stuck in here. I don't notice this, and then boom. Oh my god. Just look at the health. This is crushing. This is absolutely devastating. It's basically, and it went right into my Longbeards with great weapons. It's basically absolutely devastated 3 units, and he brought out these darn Temple Guards. Thankfully, I saw them before my Slayers got in there. He hid them, so I took my Slayers out, and I'm like, well, I'm just sending my guys in. I'm like, okay, I'm going to send my Hammers after these Temple Guards and send these guys after the Temple Guards, and I just need to get my Slayers out, and I'll get my Slayers out and around to get after the Stegodon. So this has really hurt me. And now I've got these miners going after. I don't care about that, what's going on over there, and I want to get everyone else engaged. So I'm going to get my Longbeards with great weapons engaged. I'm still trying to shoot at this Skink Chief, and as soon as I touch this Stegodon, he's dead. I know if I get my Dragonback Slayers there, the Stegodon's going to get reduced in speed, and he's dead. So now you can see Stegodon, 33 speed, he's going to be dead, he's not getting anywhere, he's finished. So I can stop worrying about him. Some of my units are actually starting to rout, so I've got to restart where I'm going to put my guys. This Skink Chief has landed on Ungrim. This is not going to work out well for him. Ungrim is really not happy about this, and he's taking it out of the Skink Chief right now quite happily. So my Dragonback Slayers, I am not going to relent on this Stegodon. I'm going to keep fighting him. Now here's kind of a key moment of the battle. He breaks my Grumbling Guard, and he's coming through with these Saurus Warriors. Now my Dragonback Slayers are beating up that Stegodon. He's not going to be able to defend the Stegodon. There's no way. But he's actually broken my Grumbling Guard and crushed them all. He's landed with his Pterodon Riders on my Bugman's Rangers, and my Uthar's Raiders are starting to get away. He's finished off my Grumbling Guard. If he turns right here, right now, and goes after my Bugman's Rangers, he might win this. But instead, he turns these Saurus Warriors back in to go after the Hammers and the Dragonback Slayers, and I'm not letting go of this guy until he's done. Okay, so he's broken now, and I'm going to send my Hammers right after here, and I'm going to send my Slayers around, and these Bugman's Rangers are just going to sit and fight against the Pterodon Riders, and you're going to see how they do afterwards. I'm going to let that go. So I've got this battle going. Hammers are going. This guy's shattered. I still have my miners going after these Chameleon Skinks here, and I'm going to get good around here, and I've got Ungrim. He's gone and fighting that Slan Mage Priest who's finally come out. All I got to do is get the Dragonback Slayers here, and I know that Slan Mage Priest is done. Now, my Longbeards are doing fine against the Saurus Warriors. They're going to get rear charged. I've got Longbeards and Longbeards with great weapons against these other 2 units of Saurus Warriors, and I've got some Chameleon Skinks in fighting here, and they're doing alright. I've managed to defend this with my Bugman's Rangers, and look, 60 out of 60 models. Haven't lost a single model. 59 out of 60 models. My other Bugman's Rangers are doing just great. So now, his Slan Mage is getting absolutely beat on by Ungram, and my Dragonback Slayers are in here, and now it's game over for that Slan Mage Priest. He is not going anywhere. He's going to be absolutely brutalized. He's down to 22 speed. I'm going to stay on him until he's shattered. I want to make sure he doesn't get anywhere, so I'm going to keep my Dragonback Slayers and Ungram Iron Fist on that Slan Mage Priest till he's shattered. And the fight here is going good. Don't have to worry about my Longbeards. I just want to keep on this Slan Mage Priest till he's absolutely shattered. I'm putting shots into the Saurus Warriors and Temple Guards. I'm trying to support my Hammerers here with the last bit of ammo from my Bugman's Rangers, and I just want to chase this guy down. Now he's shattered. I was just redoing some other units here, or I would have stopped earlier, but I don't mind this because we get to take that Toad off of his chair. And now these guys, I can just sit here, wait and see what's going on. Everything's going good here with the Longbeards. The Longbeards are great weapons. My shots are going in. These guys are fine. I'm just going to send my Bugman's Rangers in now. They've used up all their ammo. They can go in up against the Temple Guards. And I really don't need to send these Longbeards in. Don't need to send anyone else in. I just want to get these guys out. Make sure that I don't overuse my units in any which way that I need to, so these guys can just go and fight. I'm going to bring these guys, Bugman's Rangers, around, and I will send these guys around back because I just want the surround, and now the rest of the fight is pretty much clean up at this point. These guys are still chasing. You know, they've used up all their ammo on the rest of these miners. This is why miners are so good. Like, I'm really enjoying having these miners. They're just going to chase these guys forever. So, nothing much else is happening here. I got my Uthar's Raiders. They're going to get a few shots into the Temple Guard. And let's get these guys in to get to a rear charge. Get these guys in for a rear charge. I'm going to send Ungram Iron Fist over here and try and consolidate my forces kind of up here. So they can all just sit there and be fresh. And their morale will be high. And we can finish these guys off. They're all routing. Everyone else is chain routing. And that's pretty much the battle. So really interesting build and a very good idea by my opponent Frenzy is to, because the Dowie are hard to fight for the Lizardmen. It is a hard fight for them, no matter what you bring. So it's a really good try. I was worried that was going to be like a really hardcore Kite build, which it wasn't. It was a good, fair build. He was going to try and whittle me down before I got in, and he had a great idea with the net of Amatok, and the spell of the Slan Mage Priest got 99 kills. Like, I didn't see that coming at all. He basically killed three quarters of 3 full units, which is one unit of Longbeards with great weapons, my Grumbling Guard, and my Uthar's Raiders. It was a devastating. But even with that Kitey build, really these miners again showed their value. I mean, I really am liking miners more and more and more, aside from their ability to defend the back line and their good anti-large capabilities and their ability to synergize with other units. In this case, just fire and forget. I just sent them after the Chameleon Skinks, and they got beat up by the Pterodon Riders and the Skink Chief, and I didn't really care. And I just didn't want my Dragonback Slayers to get eaten alive, and they didn't. And even though he used up all his ammo on all his units, I don't think he had any units with any ammo left. All his ammo on all of his units. And he had one spell that took out almost 3 full units. We were able to win. And that's, I think, shows a lot about how good the Dowie pair up against the Lizardmen. The Lizardmen have a real tough matchup with the Dowie. I think that'll change a little bit once they get their regiments of renown. They're probably going to get some units to really help with this sort of build. But, I mean, honestly, I think... I've looked at some Lizardmen builds. I really think the best Lizardmen builds are just all infantry, no large at all whatsoever. But I mean, I'm a dwarf, so I like infantry, so maybe that's just my thinking. But again, the no kills on the miners, but you can see 0 kills, but they were invaluable. I really loved having them. The Longbeards, again, 47, 55, 1 with these guys, and 21 did decently. They were outclassed by the Saurus Warriors in this, who got 75, 64, 40, and 41. So we were a little outclassed there. This Longbeard with great weapons got murdered, but the Longbeard with great weapons I was able to send to the front line did excellent. My hammers did reasonably, but they were outclassed by the temple guards. They got 63 and our hammers only got 49. Our grumbling guard only got 7. That was a pretty big deal. 31 with our Dragonback Slayers. Our Bugman's Rangers were amazing. 22 and 10, but really they were able to fend off the Pterodon Riders without losing any models. They really hurt that Skink Chief. They put some fire into the Pterodon Riders. I didn't shoot at the Chameleon Skinks. I mean, I don't think I did. If I did, it wasn't intentional. I mean, Bugman's Rangers were just amazing. The Uthar's Raiders, if I hadn't got caught in that spell, they could have done a lot more. But even then, they did okay. They did get marked by Uthar off twice in this match, I think, and did really well. So, very happy with this build. I do really want to see how it performs up against a mass Lizardmen infantry build. Hopefully, we'll see it at some point. And I'm glad to see how this performs against a different build. And if you'll notice, we had a guest battle with Disco Poppin', and he had a Dowie build against the Lizardmen with 2 cannons, and you can see in like the hard counter to Kite build is artillery, right? I mean, they can counter and skirmish all they want, but if you have 450 range, you win that encounter. And had I had Disco's build with the 2 cannons, this would have been much, much easier to deal with, obviously. But I didn't have that build, but we were still able to prevail despite getting absolutely murdered by an amazing ability, an amazing spell. And we're very, very happy with how this played out. So would definitely like to hear from you guys what you thought of the battle, and specifically, have you faced Kite builds? Is there anything you do specifically to defend against Kite builds? And every once in a while, I don't play a ton of ladder, but I've played enough to have played against a few really, really unpleasant Kite builds before. And that's one of the reasons that I like the Dowie, because the Dowie are strong against Kite builds in a lot of their forms, and where some other factions just aren't. So anyways, love to hear from you. Look forward to hearing from you in the comments. And with that said, I will see you soon.